Alrighty, what's going on? So, here's another project of mine that I've been working on. There's still some kinks that I need to get in fixed and subtleties to adjust, but I'll show you what I got right now. So right now I have a terrain that's been generated. I can go ahead and show you that right now. Essentially what this game is meant to be is it is meant to be a 3D environment, kind of soak it up world. You know, you kind of walk around, you indulge in the environment, you kind of look around and see dialogue, you know, there's a story involved. So this is the terrain that I generated here. I just ended up making a terrain mesh, and then I ended up using the brush mechanic, the brush tool, to adjust the terrain, and that's why it looks a little wavy, so I can get some somewhat natural looking terrain here. And then if we go to the shaded view, you can see I placed in some trees, and that's also viewed right here. I've got these two different redwood trees at different scales kind of roaming about, and I have it in the daytime, but normally the games ran at nighttime, and you'll see that why that's the case in a second here, but this is just so you can see a bit better. And then I also got this grass here. Let's see if I can get a bit close to it, so you can kind of see with the grass there's multiple layers. Let me see if I can get a good spot here. Here we go. Yeah, it's a good spot. So you can kind of see that there is a bit of like a rougher grass and then this spiky grass to give it a bit more texture. The way I'm doing that is I've got these two grass textures here, and one is this grass right here, the more wavy green, darker green grass, which is this first grass plant, and the second one is scaled up so that it looks like there's a bit of grass, kind of different lengths, kind of poking out. So I thought that looked pretty cool. And that was about it. I also painted on the terrain. You can't really see. Let me see if I can show you. It's a bit right here. It's in a shaded area, but it's just kind of all this ground terrain. You can see I've given it a bit of dead grass to make it look like this is a trail that you can follow, and then it turns green and fades into the grass. So that was just a subtle detail that I did. And these trees don't move in the wind. I was working with a data pack that does have wind, so that grass can move with the wind, but I found this to be a bit better looking. So I sacrificed realism for graphics, but I guess it can go both ways. I guess you get what you get for free assets, but it's a start. I know down that later down the road I could swap it out for something better, but I can go ahead and play the game right now, and I can show you that it does work. You can summon in your character, you're given audio, like a little raining sound, and it does rain. I can show you those particles after. I totally forgot about that. But you can walk around, plays that you're walking on the ground, and you can kind of just walk around and just kind of soak up the environment. And it was a pretty fun project. I had a lot of fun making this. You know, even just figuring out basic lighting. I thought this stuff was really fun. So yeah, and then just all the loading in. I mean, this is about it. I was planning on adding a story in, but with the time constraint, I couldn't quite get that in quite yet, but I can do that later on. But let me show you those rain particles. Let me see how far out they are. I think they're quite a ways up. Let's see here. Yeah, they're right here. So this is the rain particles. I just have it kind of pivoted above the player a little ways, and it's going based off gravity. So it is looking like it's falling great distance, and it just follows the player. So I've got multiples of these so that it looks like a lot of rain, essentially. And I could honestly just do this, and it would be a downpour. And I could keep doing that, but, you know, I take graphics performance because while my computer may be able to handle it, some computers may not. But this just makes it look like a downpour, and I think that's really cool. So that's about that. And with the nighttime, let me show you that. Originally for the lighting, the way I was doing it, it's right here, my bad. for the lighting, I was essentially just using this, which is just a sundial. It just basically mimics a sun cycle. So instead of sunrise, we want sunset, and we want it roughly around here. And if we go ahead and hit play, it'll be a bit darker. The rain will, it'll be playing. It looks like some of the light is still baking in. Whenever you change the light, it has to bake in, so a lot of it's not reflecting on the trees quite yet, just because of the sheer amount of them. And you can see kind of in the bottom right, the global illumination, that's what's baking in right now. So a lot of the trees aren't baking in, which is why they look completely out of place. There's no shading. But as it gives time, it says it'll take an hour to do, which I'm not gonna record for an hour. That's a little ridiculous, but you guys kind of get the idea. It will adjust to the trees later on, but that's essentially the project. I can show you some of the code here. It wasn't too bad learning how to code in C#. I didn't know any C# prior, so kind of going on with some tutorials and getting basic movement in and terrain generation, that was pretty fun. So this was me figuring out how to get audio to play, and it wasn't too bad. It's pretty self-explanatory. There are obviously some changes to tutorials since, Unity gets updates, C# gets updates, and all of that jazz. So yeah, that's about it. Hope you guys enjoy it. Pretty fun game, and I had a pretty fun time coding it, so yeah.